We're at the corner of Cambie and 49th, and it's one of the station areas in the Cambie Corridor study area. So the plan was launched in 2009. Council approved the terms of reference that really set up a three-phase planning program. Phase 1, which was finished in 2010, set some high-level principles for the corridor and also established some land use direction for the areas right around the station. So for example, for this site, you can see the corner sites, we set some principles and land use direction for that, for Marine Drive, for Oak Ridge, and for King Edward Station. And it was really a departure from the way that station area planning had been done in the city before. Typically we would look at one station and just do a plan around that station. The corridor, as the name implies, says that we're looking at a very different area of influence, so more of a corridor. And now the area is defined from Ontario to Oak Street and from the Fraser River in the south to 16th Avenue in the north. So in 2010, again, as I mentioned, we looked at the areas around the station. 2011, Council then approved a plan for basically what is the arterial of the Cambie Corridor. So that's the sites fronting on the main arterial and then the side streets, so Marine Drive, 49th, 41st, and 25th, setting a land use plan for that, as well as public benefits strategy and some other policies around housing, energy, district energy, and other elements as well. So that was the key. Now what we're doing, and I think this is one of the most exciting pieces, is we've established the pattern, if you will, at the nodes and along the main arterials. We're now starting to look at the areas in behind. So what are predominantly single-family neighborhoods in behind, and we've just kicked off a process on that. So it's Cambie Phase 3. We had some launch events this summer where we went out and talked to the community about just early ideas and values and thoughts about where we might look, and just went and engaged and said, hey, we're here again, we're back after 4 years essentially, and we want to have a conversation about what might happen in these surrounding neighborhoods. So that's really where we're at now, and my team in the city are working on that to move that agenda forward, and are starting a really positive dialogue about some of the positive change that could happen in the surrounding neighborhood. We're looking for a real diversity of housing, and everything, frankly, from single family to higher forms. And I think that's really the beauty of the Cambie Corridor, is there's really a place for everything in this corridor. So at some of the key nodes, you are seeing higher forms arise. So Oak Ridge, for example, Marine Drive, you're seeing a pattern there right at the stations that are more about high-rise buildings and really kind of focusing in energy right at the station. This station, for example, and you can see the buildings behind me, are more of a mid-rise type of building. And King Edward is another station where we're looking at more mid-rise buildings. That mid-rise pattern really continues along a lot of the arterial streets, whether it's Cambie or the cross streets. And again, it's that pattern of more of like a European style type of density, mid-rise with high points at the stations like Marine Drive and Oak Ridge. The other pattern that we're trying to develop, and then this is part of the Phase 3, is what happens in those surrounding neighborhoods. So looking at housing that's more ground-oriented, more family-friendly, that's really compatible with existing single-family. So there's still a place for single-family in the corridor, and I think that's really important that people understand, is it's not just about one thing. There is a place for single-family, and single-family in those surrounding neighborhoods that's compatible with ground-oriented housing like townhouses and row houses. What I would encourage construction and development companies to do is to look at the plan, because what you've seen here is a highly transformative plan that takes the existing single-family neighborhoods along the arterial and says, look, we're going to introduce a transit-oriented, transit-supportive form of development. Recognizing we have this major investment in a $2 billion Canada line, the city really sought to leverage that investment to provide higher density and medium density living around it, right? So the plan creates a lot of certainty, a lot of very clear direction on mid-rise and high-rise development along this arterial for transformation. So, I mean, look at the plan. That's where it's all at. The next phase, where construction companies, and whether they be large construction companies or even smaller construction companies, could look at these surrounding neighborhoods, because there's a lot of opportunity, I think, in these areas as we go through the plan to explore opportunities for that ground-oriented housing. And we're hearing actually from the communities themselves that people are interested in that. They're looking for a diversity of housing stock, recognizing that as these single-family neighborhoods evolve, there may be other options in there that we could take advantage of given this investment in transit.